Yesterday we learned how do we define route parameters, working with route parameters. You tried? I haven't posted any example, but you heard, you learned the concept. You can try. I will upload that example today. Right? So how we can use route parameters, how we can transport by using route parameters we learned. Now one more in routing, we need to understand about nested routes. We will discuss about nested routes, how to define nested routes. Nested route, you can configure route inside another route. Right? How to use these nested routes we will see. That means actually in a module system, so we can configure nested routes. In a module system, we can configure nested routes. So every module can have individual routes. Actually, every module can have individual routes. So in a module system means actually what is that module system? We can configure nested routes in module system. So what is that? For example, so we are having an application. Actually, suppose we take some bank application. Suppose we have a bank app. Now in this application, we have some modules like some personal banking, like NRI banking. So, and here we have like some agree like this. These are actually some modules in the bank app. Suppose you see HDFC. Yeah. Suppose this is HDFC Bank, and in this they have so many modules like personal, like NRI, like SME, like wholesale, like agree. These are all various categories. Means actually these are modules. And very important is all these days what you have seen is your app is having a login screen and it is having a some registration form. Now generally for personal banking they can have a login separate. Personal banking can have a register separate, right? And remember, the same login is not for NRI banking and same register is not here. There will be login for NRI banking. There will be login for register for NRI, but they are different. That means you have different forms for them. NRI registration form will be different. Now, similarly, agree is actually so have a login, and agree is also having a register. Agree is generally banks will keep all the government schemes in this part. Agree, right? Technically, the point is now 3 logins are there, but all not same. If we design a login component and if we want the same component everywhere, then we reuse the component. In the beginning itself, we saw Netflix page, we can reuse a component once you design a component. But here all 3 logins are different data, different features, register also different. That means every module have their individual navigation again. That means they have login, they have register, they have some other details, some dashboard. This dashboard is related to personal banking dashboard, right? That means actually in one app there are so many modules working. Now, generally here routing, so bank app is initially having a routing defined. Initially, it is having a routing defined. In that routing, what will happen? So it will have options like personal, it will have like NRI, it will have like agree, like this, it will have. This is the main route. This is the main route. That means this is the route defined for bank application. This is the route defined for the bank application. We have this route. Now in this route, so actually, so in this route, this personal banking is having another route. It is having another route. This route have login, this route have register, this route have dashboard, like this. And NRI have its own route again. It have its own route. In that route again, they have login, they have like register, so many. This is nested. That means we have a routing in a route again. That means we went to one location. For example, you see this website. So personal banking. In personal banking, when I select, you have personal banking, have a product type. Personal banking is having product. When I go to NRI, in NRI banking, you can see the product types will be changing. Not same. Right? That means actually this is a portal. We can simply say that in a website, you are browsing 3 different portals. When manager logs in, he will see a different environment. When customer logs in, he will see a different environment. That means when admin logs in, he will see a different environment. That means admin is able to modify all the details. That means he is provided with a separate environment. That means application is same. It have multiple modules and every module have its own routing. This kind of complex routing we have to design in applications. At large scale, applications are designed by using these kind of techniques. So this is previously what we done only. That means previously we took only one part. Here we designed routing for this, right? But that means we need routing at this level. In that again routing. This is called nested. We can create nested routes. Generally, how you configure the nested routes? Same, simple, syntactically routes. We define route. Route uses a path, and in this route path, for example, this is like personal, right? And what element it will return? It will return the personal element. Now, this is the route for personal. This is the route for personal. Now, in that personal, again, we configure route. And this route will have the path as what? Login. And this will have an element. What is that? Some login element. That means you will have a login element here. So this is how you define. And it is having another. So that is register. So that means here we have an option like register, like this. Register. Then we have register. Like this, we can configure. That means within this route, again, we have some routes. Similarly, you will have a multi-level hierarchy, as I already told you, that we have another route. And this is related to NRI. So it is related to NRI. NRI have login and register. That means we create a hierarchy of multi-level. So we can access the routes and we can use those routes. Now we need to design something like this. So that means we need to create and configure nested routes. At large scale applications will be like that. Large scale applications will be in this way. What you saw in the previous was a simple application with straightforward set of some functionalities like login, register, dashboard. That's what we designed. But let's try this kind of environment, how we can configure. Actually, nested routes not only for this kind of module system. Actually, nested routes are also used. Nested routes are also used for configuring route parameters also. Now, in the modern routing techniques, we use nested routes for configuring route parameters also. Yesterday, what we done, we created one route which can access all categories. And in that categories again products, in that products again details. We designed the hierarchy like that. So here, see, actually we have a route, and this route path is, suppose it is using products. Products is going to actually return all products. That means we will give an element. So it will return products. It will return all products. Okay, this will return all products. But important, I want inside, based on ID, I want to return that only that particular product details. Then what we can do is, here we can define route and we can define path. We can configure so colon ID like this. And what it have to do, it should render element. What is the element to render? It should render which one? Details. Details is the element it should render. Like this you can define. This is also nested route. That means what we are doing, when we access products, it will get products. In that products, when you select any ID, when you pass any product ID, then it will return details. It will return details. Now in details, what we do, we collect this ID and we will access it. Yesterday, the same thing, what we done, the same thing. So yesterday we designed without nested route. How we designed, we created route, we defined path is equal to slash products slash colon ID. If I do like this, then what we done, element, directly which element we can get details. In details element, we can directly render its content. This was the technique we used in the last session, but it can be done in this way. So that means a multi-level hierarchy. A multi-level hierarchy. You can have multiple parameters. For example, passed category, then it should get categories. If I passed ID, only that particular ID related details. You can define for two reasons. So developing application with nested routes involves two requirements. One is to create a module based environment so that user can browse across modules, a route within route. Another for configuring the parameters. We can individually configure the route parameters and we can define them. That's what we can achieve, right? So we will see how to implement these kind of concepts. We will see actually. So let's create one simple example for that. So here we will do one thing, right, in our project. This is our project. Yeah. So let's close all these things. Yesterday we designed this. Okay. Now I'm creating a separate folder. Here, let's go to the SRC. And here I will add a folder, some bank app. Just I created a bank app. Now let's create the basic environment for this. That means I'm adding a new file. So this is main. So that is main.js. I'm using a main component here. Main component. Let's keep so main component .js. We have a main component here, right? Okay, that is the main component defined. That means bank application will starts with main. That is. Now, what we will do here is after that, we will add a separate folder. In that folder, I will give here, so means in the bank app, I will say here, this is personal, right? So this is personal. So this is personal. In a bank app, we have personal. And in that, we have two files. One is personal login.js. Okay. And we have another file that is personal register.js. That's what we have in the personal. Now we will add another folder inside the bank app. So that is NRI. So NRI is another folder. And in these two files, we have NRI login.js. And we have another NRI register.js, right? So now we are creating a very multi-level hierarchy here, right? So, okay, we have NRI and personal, and one more we will use here is, this is the main. And in the main, what we will do, we will add another along with main. I will add another one. So another file along with main, we will have bank app.js. We have main.js, bank app home. I will give .js, bank app home.js. Okay. These are all the options defined. So now let's keep simple functionality in them. I will go to NRI login and we will create a function export. So default function. So NRI login. Okay. And it will return just some message heading. So NRI login. Okay. Let me copy this and go to register. And here I will give NRI register. And here I define NRI register. Okay. Now let's go to the personal login. And we will see this is personal login. Okay. And here this is personal login. Next, we have personal register. All these are same. Personal register. Okay. Here also I give personal register. Okay. Now, this is all the content we are having, and this is bank app home, right? Export default function. So bank app home, that is the function, and it should return. So here we will keep so heading as bank home. That is the content. Now, actually in this home, we have to display the links for NRI banking, personal banking. Links must be inside this home. So now this home should be rendered. Inside this, we need links, right? We will design them. So we need links for those. And here we will go to the main component now. Let's create default function. This is main component, main component. What's main component have to return? So a div and a class name. So container fluid. Okay. Now in this, we will design the routes. We will configure the routes. That means we have to import. So we need to import browser router from React router DOM. Browser router, and we need another routes, another route. This is how we need to configure. We need to import these, right? Register function. Okay, we will correct that anywhere. Personal spelling. Yeah, fine. Yes. No, if we use the wrong name, it will not cause any error. Which spelling misspelled word, if you use the same misspelled word, it will not cause any error. So names will not check our spellings. What wrong spelling you used, you can continue with that wrong spelling in accessing, right? That's so now, okay, fine. We have to define this, right? So technically, now let's go to the container fluid. Here we have to design browser router. In the browser router, we have to configure routes. In these routes, we need to define a route. And what is the main route? This main route have to use the path. If path is slash, that means user is not requesting anything. Then element, it have to render the bank. So app, this is bank app home, it have to render. That means if I am not requesting anything, by default, bank app home should come. Right now, inside this bank app home, we have two routes again. Inside that, two routes again. That means we need to configure route. We need to configure the route. What is this route? If route path is slash, so this is personal, am I right? Then which one to come element? It should render. It should render which element? So personal is present. Personal login. Yes. So we have we can do one thing. Yeah. Because we don't have personal home, right? If user access first, we can get personal home, right? I will use here personal what login. Then which one to come here? We have to define the element. Which element it have to get? Personal login, right? We can create a personal home also, right? But we created only personal login and personal register. There can be personal home. I will tell you that also. Okay, next, what is it? Another route. So this route path, in the route path, we have so personal register, and we have an element. So which element we need? Personal register. Personal register element we have to access. So we need to configure that route here. So we need to define the route. Yeah. So slash, yeah. So we need to end the route. Okay. This is the personal route we are having. So by default, when you open bank app, so bank app home will come. In this bank app home, we have directly personal login and personal register. In that again, actually it should be personal. In the personal, again, personal login and personal register. You can get more hierarchy, that is. As of now, this is still, we have other options also directly. What are those? Two more options are there here. Those options are nothing but NRI login, another one NRI home. So we can define directly here. Let's put another route. So route path is slash NRI login. So element, element is NRI login. That is the element. Okay. Now we have another route, the path and slash. This is NRI register and element. So this is using NRI register. Okay. These are the options defined. Now, whenever the application is requested, so it will first load bank home app, right? That will load the bank home app, and in that these routes are available. That means now what we have to do, we have to go to this bank app home. There we have to create links for this. We have to create links for this because they are present inside it. These are the routes inside this. That means now what we have to do here, we will go to the bank app home, and here we are creating a nav. In this navigation, we will create a simple span. So a span. So, and here I will create a link. Okay. And what this is link. Link is derived from router. Na? So import. So link from router, React router. We have to import the link. Now here I need to configure the link. Okay. And it should be link to. So link to the text I will give as personal login. It should link to this location, personal login. So it should link to that personal login. So we have to link to that personal login. So we are configuring the route, and this is the route path, right? Same. So here, this is path. Path just names are enough. Okay. This slash we have to use where? Slash we have to use here. That means it should get me the personal login. Same links we need. Okay. Copy, and I will keep a span, a pipe, and just add here. This is personal register, and it should go to here personal register. Like this I am defined. So same other links we have to configure. Copy means I am just using a separator, and this is for NRI login. So NRI login, and here I defined NRI login. Okay, so and below this we have another. So this is NRI register, and here I have to define NRI register. Like this we configured all the route. Now the question is, when user selects them, where to display the result? I want the result to display below. I will keep a horizontal. Here I want to render that result. Previously, how the result was rendered? The result was rendered by using routes. Directly we use the routes here, but routes are present in another page, another component. We have to bring the routes and use them here. That is done by using, we have to use an outlet. We have to use an outlet. We have to configure an outlet. That means here we need to use that outlet. We have to define the outlet here. Outlet indicates where the resulting markup is rendered. That means the link target where it should render, that we have to define using this outlet. That means now our application must start with main component. Am I right? So let's start with the main component. Let's go to index. Index.js. We will start with main component. We will start with the main component. Now let's run this and see. But still it is not done, because in this again several hierarchies are present, right? So we can define them. So here, let me, by the time I can give a note here. Yeah. So the routes resulting markup is rendered at any specified location using an outlet. We have to use an outlet. So we have to import outlet from from React router DOM. And here we have to use link to any path here, and we have an element is some element name. So and we have to define this is click. So we are configuring that. Sorry, not element name. This is I'm writing like route. Just link to the path. Just you have to say click. Actually, here we have to define outlet. We have to write the outlet, the link path. When you select, the result will be rendered here. Right, when you are configuring the nested route. So outlet decides the resulting markup location where to render. Now you can see personal login, personal register, NRI. And I say personal login, it will come here. So personal register, it will come here. NRI login and NRI register. This is nested, how we can configure the nested routes with an outlet. But actually, so I need to just give personal and NRI. In personal, again, login and register. In NRI, again, login and register. That's what happened when I select personal. That means the personal details came. And when I click on NRI, then NRI details will come. NRI banking details will come. That means we need separate options here now. That means there must be only two things. One is personal and NRI. There must be only two things. And personal home, in that again route. That means, for example, see now how we define. So here, let's go to the design now. And in this design, let's add here. I will go to personal and I will add a new file. So this is personal home.js. And here I will just create a function export default function. This is personal home, right? That is personal home, and it should return a container. And in this container, we will create links. This is personal home, right? I will just put this heading. This is personal home. Okay, these are the options. Now in this, there will be, suppose I am giving an unordered list item, there will be like login and another one is register. Later we will put them as links. Now we have next NRI. I will copy the similar. And in NRI also, we will have a file called NRI home.js. This is NRI home. So NRI home. And here I defined NRI home. This have again login and register. These are the options we are configuring. So you see now when I go to this, now we go to the main routing actually. So this is main. Now what should happen here is, this is the point. Yeah. This login and register, this login and register should not work directly now. So what should happen is, I will remove this. Inside this bank app, we will create a route. And in this route, we define the path. Route path. Actually here, I will give, I'm not giving path. I am giving element. Understood? Element, which element to render? It have to render so personal home. Am I right? It have to render personal home. That means it should render so personal home. Personal home it have to render. When it should render personal home, that means it should render personal home. So when user is requesting personal, am I right? That means what is the path? Path is personal. When user is requesting personal, then personal home will come. In that, you will have again these two. Understood? Understood? That means it is having personal login and personal register. Now the same, these two I will remove, and again they have a route. In this route, we configure the path. This is what NRI. And what is the element? Element is, so this is element is NRI home. That means we have to get NRI home. We have to link that NRI home. In that again, two path will be there. Understood? This is NRI login and NRI register. Now what we have to do is, we need to make some changes in the bank home app now. That means we will go to the bank home. That is, where is that? This is the bank home. In this, we don't have all these logins anymore. Okay. In this, we have only two links. Nah? We have only two links. One span. This is having a link. This link is personal. Okay. And we have another span. And I will keep here a span. And this have a link. This is what NRI. Now what this have to do? To this have to where slash personal. This have to slash where NRI. And that outlet is this. Outlet is that. That means we have to configure that and display. Some more problem? Console NRI register. Huh? Okay, where is that NRI register? Bank app home. Let's go to main and see here slash. We have two route paths. These are defined. Okay. These will load only when we request them. Huh? By default, it have to load. In the bank app home, where is that bank app home? By default, it should come. Okay. This should render by default. Let's see. By default, it is rendering that. I hope where I am using NRI register, login, personal. Acha, here we have links. Fine. Somewhere we missed the main component. Let's say I will first put these two. First level we will test. Acha, this NRI register we are refreshing. I'm reloading the path which is already visited previously, the previous path. That is the wrong thing I am doing. It's fine. Actually, no need to do any modification. Okay, this is fine. So we have two options, personal and NRI. And when I click personal, what should come? Personal home. You click personal home will come. And you click on NRI, then it should get the NRI home. So these two are working. Now in this again route, in this again we have to configure the route. So that means when user clicks on this login, it should get the login inside it, right? That is the point. So let's write here. Let's go and write another option here. So we need to configure route. In this route, what is the path? Directly one route. So route path. Okay. Suppose I will give the route path as some P login. Okay. Personal login. In short, I am giving, right? So personal login element, which element it should display? It should get the personal login. Personal login, it should render. Fine. That is okay. And another I will give. Yeah, another route. So route and route path. This is P register. Register. Okay. And we have to use element. Element is personal register. We have personal register. Okay. This is the option. Now, similarly, we have two things. In this also, we need to define. So, but here important same we can implement now actually in personal home. Now let's go to the personal home, right? In this personal home, you can see in the personal home, these two must be clickable. Then what we do? Let's go in the personal home. These are clickable. That means I need to again. So import link. So from React router DOM. Okay. I will import here. I am using an outlet again. Now here, this login should be, so link, this should link and it is login. It should link to which location? Slash. So what is it? P login. That is the path. P login, that is personal login. Okay, now here we have to define another link. So we have to define another link. Okay, this link is register, and this should to link to we what P register. Where to display that result? That result must be displayed below this unordered list, right? That must be displayed below this unordered list. That means here I will put an horizontal line, and here I'm using an outlet. I'm using an outlet there. That means I'm configuring another outlet. That means login. So you can see it is getting this P login. Here one important, because I defined here slash, understood? I will tell you that point. See, when we are accessing this initially, we will get personal. In that login, it will get that. The usage of slash will replace all the path and go to the main. Nested routes should not replace all. It should add to existing path. That means what is the path reference here is when you define here. So a node slash path. So it will replace the complete complete existing path. It will replace the complete existing path with current. That means what it will do. So if I define slash login, am I right? Then already if we have http://localhost, so 3000, and here we are having, suppose there is personal, am I right? In that personal, so I am using login, am I right? Then what happens is this login will not be like this. It will remove that personal. That means the personal is removed. Understood? The personal is removed and it will put only login. That means what slash will do is slash removes existing. It remove existing. That means it will remove this personal and it will put only login. If you want to add to existing, so we have to just use the path. It will add to existing. It will add to existing. That means already if there is personal, it will add login. If I use slash, that means it is taking me to the root level. If I am not using slash, then it is going to add to the existing. In nested routes, usually we need to add to existing, not to the main. That is done when you want to take to main page. When you want to take to main page, just you have to use a slash. That means you see here. So suppose I want to here, say I will go here. Let's see. Now you can see this is personal, and I say register. This is register, and you see this register is added to the existing. It is added to the existing. Now here below this flag, so I'm giving another line break and put a div, and here I am writing a simple link, and this link is back to main. Then here I am adding link to personal. Understand? Not personal. Link to which one? Main. Main means which is the main component we are having. So it is the slash. You can use slash or you can go to the personal. It go to the personal. That means if I have to go to the personal, then you see here what we have to do is we have to just use, because if I use personal, okay, see what will, when I click on back to main, is add this person. It should take to the root, removing all, then we have to use a slash. Then you have to use a slash. That is important, right? That means I click back and it will give the, so that is back to the main. So login and back to main, it will go to the main. Main is nothing but personal. I selected NRI, then NRI logins. In this again, login. So the same thing I have to implement here. So what should I do? So let's go to the main component. So for NRI also, these options we need to implement. So what are these? For NRI, so N login, N register. This is login. This is NRI register. NRI register. That's how we are home. So we have to go to NRI home, and here we have to create the links. Now you need here import. So import link and import outlet. So from React router DOM. Okay. And here we need to define these again. So, and link we have to use. Yeah. So link, and the link is login, and this also link is register, and this link to, so here we just use login, and here also link to say register. Actually it is N login and register. And where is the outlet? So I will give a horizontal line, and here we will keep the outlet. Outlet is this. So now you can see when we access this, this is the main page. So when we say personal banking NRI, it will get NRI home. In that NRI login, NRI register. We can have a multi-level hierarchy. In this again, other components, another nested route. Any level of nested routes you can configure. Now, if anybody asks a question like, so can we define multiple outlets in a component? What do you say? Can we define multiple outlets in a component? No. Currently, do we have multiple outlets in one component? No, we don't have multiple outlets in one component. We have nested, na? Nested. We don't have multiple outlets. So actually, see, suppose I am writing here another outlet. I am writing outlet again. That means you see it returns it. That means the point here is actually if anybody says, can we have multiple outlets? Answer is yes, but not recommended. Understood? It's not recommended. We cannot have multiple outlets because outlet is, you can have multiple outlets, but not recommended. When you are using nested routes, we have to use multi-level. Multiple outlets are supported. It will work, but not recommended. That is not traditionally good. Why? Because you are trying to render same again and again, right? So, but not recommended. We can have multiple outlets. That means we can define multiple outlets. You can see another outlet came. Outlet is nothing but it is telling where to render your content. Now, actually, sometimes we can render two different locations in the same. For example, you saw Netflix. So it is a Netflix page. When you see the Netflix page, what they are doing, they are rendering this register component in two locations in the same area, right? They are using in two locations. That means I may ask him to log in at the top or log in at the bottom. Then we can use two outlets. But It's not recommended because we don't want entire part of component. That's the reason better reuse the components. Don't use multiple outlets. Multiple outlets, because outlet will render entire hierarchy of component. Outlet will render the route again, complete route again. That should not happen. That is the reason better reuse, right? So can we have multiple outlets? We cannot have multiple. We can have multiple outlets, but it is not recommended. Some technologies will not support multiple outlets. That means some technologies will not support multiple outlets. That means in other technologies where you are using routing, there it will not support multiple outlets. It says that you cannot have more than one outlet in a component. But in React, it is possible. We can have multiple outlets. We can configure multiple outlets. So this is important, right? So it is, we can have multiple, but it is not recommended. What is the purpose of multiple outlet is we can render the same thing at different locations in the same page. That's what actually the concept is, right? So generally we can configure by using this technique. This is one complete example. I will upload this entire zip folder of all these files. Okay, you can go through them. That means this bank app zip folder I will upload. We can go through that, right? So that zip folder will have all these files. You can go through the code. I will upload this bank app related zip, right? You try this step. Two will upload iShop also. Already we designed iShop and this. Now you have to try the same concept with iShop. Only you start up iShop index. Na? So let's go to index. I will change this to what? iShop index. Okay, now our project starts with this. Now here I click on, I'm not starting my API. So I have to start the API also to get. So that means I want that API. CD server and node API dot JS. Okay, so I can go to dashboard. It is asking login at the net 123. So here we have electronics. Now when I click on a category, the category related products will come. Now the point is, in this jewelry list, when user clicks on that product, the detail should come here only. That means what we have to do for every category, you have to create a nested route here. In that nested route, I want the outlet here. Understood? Outlet here. So when user selects this, that result should come beside the detail of product, beside or below, anywhere we can display. Right now, you need to achieve the same functionality there. That means what you have to do is you have to create a nested route in this location. Where is it? iShop. In that iShop, actually products is there. Here it is displaying link. Na? This details should render below. Understood? The details should render below. That means you have to create a nested route, and there here you have to use an outlet. Here we have to use an outlet. That is, for that you have to first design route with that technique. That means you try the same concept. That means example I will give like this actually. Means you try like this. First user will open home. In home, user will select categories. In categories, it will display the products. And inside that products, detail should come. That means these products must show the list of all the products. That means here it should show some TV. It should show some mobile. And when user clicks on that, understood? When user clicks on that, the detail should come here, right? So the detail should come here. That means here the product details must come in the same. When user is clicking on another mobile details, TV details. That means inside the products, we have to create a nested row for details. Already example is designed. Only one this nested route you have to implement in this. You try doing that. So this is one very big concept about how we can define nested routes. Okay. So route parameters, and nested routes. So after that, we will have to understand about some route hooks, right? Some important hooks. So already we learned major one. Some other important hooks are there. We have to understand them. Route hooks that we'll see next session. First, you have to try all this. I will put both examples. You try them. Then tomorrow we will discuss some route hooks, how to handle. Then we can finish the routing part, and we will now go to the concept of TypeScript now. That means we will learn basic of TypeScript, and we will learn again building a React application using TypeScript. This time I will just give you the language complete detail, and now you can rebuild your complete application with TypeScript. After knowing TypeScript, I will give you the complete overview of TypeScript so that we can finish the same React application with TypeScript also. How to handle that? That we'll see in next sessions. Okay. After we finish the part, okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Right.